popular needs, and a second career developer. And that's because a few years ago I was doing something completely different and had spent 14 years working in financial services and decided to pursue a new career and learn to code and change my career. This is my story of how I went about it and what I'm doing now. So I studied mathematics at university quite a while ago and had no idea what I wanted to do as a career, kind of growing up with no fixed idea in mind. If you'd asked me when I was 10 or 11 what I wanted to do, I said no idea, but something to do with maths and computers. I taught myself to code using my ZX Spectrum 48K with my basic programming manual, and then never really kind of did any programming after that. So when I left university, I started work as a credit risk analyst in financial services, which was a really cool career and I really enjoyed it. I specialised in existing customer risk, which is fascinating, I think it is anyway. So looking at credit limit increase strategies and behavioural strategies, and order decisioning, and a bit of fraud as well. And it was a really cool role because it was a hybrid between business and IT. So I would do some data analysis into a new strategy perhaps. I'd then decide how to implement that in the system and work with IT, and work with the operations teams and implement it. So it's a really kind of interesting hybrid role. And I did that for a number of years, working my way up to a senior analyst and then a manager. And I went and had a baby, came back and worked a 4-day week. But as time went on, I kind of became a bit more, I kind of found the role a bit limiting and I got a bit bored, a bit frustrated. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I kind of didn't really want to move up to a senior manager role, and there wasn't really room to do that in my job. I didn't want to go and work for a bank. It never really interested me, and that would have been the natural step, working in credit risk. And I felt a bit stuck really. I'd worked for the same company since I was 19 because I'd worked there in the call centre before I got my graduate role. I didn't really know anything else, so I found myself at 36 kind of quite disillusioned about where I was and feeling like I was a jack of all trades, master of none. I'd had no sort of real clear direction. And working part-time as well, I found it really difficult to imagine going and working somewhere else after spending years of finding a really good work-life balance. I kind of knew that I would need to have something really exciting to go to kind of leave that behind. And I just felt really stuck, like I'd got down the wrong cul-de-sac and didn't know where to go. So I had to think about what I was really good at and what I enjoyed, and I came up with a list of things. I really enjoyed learning constantly, I like being challenged, I really enjoyed problem solving, and that was small problems in coding or it was really big, complex business problems. I really enjoyed working in a team. I enjoyed logical thinking, and I enjoyed tech. I was a bit of a gadget geek, like my Apple Watch and my iPhone, and always had the latest gadgets. And I liked a bit of programming I was doing, which was SAS and SQL, and a bit of VBA in Excel. And I decided that I would try to learn to code and do software development. So I started out rather tentatively learning to code. I wasn't really sure if it was going to be a career, but I wanted to learn something new. So I sort of looked on loads of websites, there's tons and tons of free resources out there to start to learn to code. And I found Treehouse, which is a really cool one for me, kind of learning through videos and coding challenges. And you get little badges whenever you do a section, so it felt a bit fun, and I got a bit of kind of feedback as I was progressing and learning. I learned how to code in Ruby, and I followed the sort of Ruby track and Ruby on Rails. And I absolutely loved it. Once I started coding, I just fell in love with it and I couldn't stop doing it. I used Code Wars as well, which you can kind of do little problems and level up. And I found that I was trying to do a problem and couldn't solve it. And I'd go to bed and wake up at 2 in the morning. I'd have to go back to the computer and fix it because I couldn't put it down, which was a bit crazy. So just absolutely loved it, and I decided to be a bit brave and go to some meetups, a bit like this, which I found really scary at first, going and meeting new people, kind of jumping into the tech scene. But everyone was just really, really lovely whenever I went anywhere, really welcoming into the tech industry. And I was really lucky to have a friend who works in recruitment down in Sheffield, down here, and she very kindly introduced me to some tech companies down here, and I spent the day down at the electric works, going down the Helter Skelter, and meeting recruiters and owner and some developers. And I can't tell you how motivating it was sitting with a developer and seeing code on the screen that looked vaguely familiar. I took the kind of mystique and the magic away, and it just felt like it was tangible. And despite me being kind of a bit concerned about the fact I didn't have a computer science degree, I hadn't been coding since I was kind of 5 in a dark room somewhere. Everyone was really lovely and really welcoming and really supportive, and I felt really motivated about trying to learn to code and trying to make a career in software development. And then in May 2016, I was lucky enough to be part of Sky's Get Into Tech scheme. This is a scheme that now runs annually, the 5th cohort of half of their course, and it's run in Leeds and Osterley and Livingston. And they take a group of women, about 12 to 16 women in each course, and who don't have any experience in software engineering or very little, and give them the skills that they need to apply for a junior developer role at the end of it. And this for me was completely life-changing. I've been coding on my own, but now I have the opportunity to code with a group of people, fellow learners. And over the course of 15 weeks, we learned HTML, CSS, PHP, SQL and JavaScript. And there was like a week of full-time boot camp, followed by 14 weeks evening course, which is 2.5 hours every Wednesday night. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but the real work was in between those sessions. So we do a session and learn a concept, and then spend a week doing some homework and trying to pair remotely with the other ladies on the team. And it was really intense. It was just, the only thing I can liken it to is like X Factor. It was just this emotional roller coaster where you sat in your pyjamas, and I got at night trying to figure out how to code something with someone else who sat in their pyjamas in another place. But it was absolutely brilliant. At the end of the course, I had all these new skills. I had a new support network of ladies on the course, and I had this newfound confidence that actually I can code, I'm good at it, and I can do this as a job. And I had a sort of confidence in my own abilities to get out there. So at the end of the course, we were invited to apply to the graduate scheme at Sky, which is their software engineering academy. It's the same graduate scheme that university graduates go through. So I did a 3-day coding test and a full-day assessment centre, and was offered a place. And in November 2016, I took voluntary redundancy from my old job and started a new career as a software developer at Sky, which was really scary and really exciting as well. The Software Engineering Academy starts with a 4-week boot camp learning Java, and it was really, it felt really ridiculous to be being paid to be at work, to be in the classroom learning Java. It was just the most exciting thing ever. And I kind of let go of that old career and all the kind of the weight on your shoulders when you're working in a job you've been for ages, and suddenly I was just getting paid to code, and it was really cool. And then after that we did a 4-month project, to do like an educational project. Where it's a real project at Sky, working on proper Sky products, but isolated from everything else, so you can't bring down the Sky Sports website on a Saturday afternoon or anything. So it's really, really nice to work on something real. So I had to learn Node.js, which is yet another programming language, and we built a web app. And the aim of the education project is genuinely to learn more than the product that you get at the end of it. So you do make a real product and it can be used at Sky, but the focus is really on learning. So halfway through, we decided we wanted to learn Swift and iOS development, and we spent the second half building an iOS app to accompany the web app, and taught ourselves Swift and iOS, and I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with Swift. It's a really beautiful language and really expressive, and I loved mobile development. After battling with front-end web development, which I really didn't like, found CSS really difficult. Using mobile development and having storyboards and constraints felt really mathematical to me, and it made more sense, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was a really nice experience because, as well as just learning to code, we got to learn how to work in an agile team, doing all the scrum ceremonies of stand-ups and planning and retros. and learn how to not only code, but how to deliver software, how to deploy it, how to build a CI pipeline, how to test it, how to write UI tests and automated tests. So it was a really, really good experience. And at the end of the academy, we were able to have some say over what team we joined and what language we wanted to do. So I chose to go and work in the Sky News and Sports team, who were doing iOS development. So I joined the Sky News team in April 2017 as a junior iOS developer. And it was really exciting because the first morning I was there, about 10:30, Theresa May came out on the telly and said there was going to be a general election, a snap general election. And everyone was like, oh, that's really cool, we have to build something for general election. So the very first thing I worked on with developers was this little widget for the general election. And it was really cool to be working on something that was in millions of people's hands. It was actually a real, tangible thing. And it's still really exciting working on news and sports. I work on the Sky News, Sky Sports, Sky Sport Germany and Sky Sport Italia apps, and they're literally used by millions of people. So when transfer deadline day is happening or something crazy is happening in the House of Commons, which is happening on a daily basis, it's really exciting to see how many people are using the app and using features that we build. So that kind of never stopped being really exciting. I was really nervous about joining a proper development team, but they couldn't have been more lovely. Everyone literally on the team is just so welcoming and supportive and helpful, and have mentored me and have helped me develop as a developer. It is really strange being in a position where there's not many women. Over the years, starting to get into tech schemes done wonders for the percentage of female developers at Sky, but I'm still yet, after 2 years, to work with another female developer, which is just a bit odd. We kind of find there's just lots of men there who are in their early 20s, and it's strange. We can't build software like that. You need to have a diverse team of people to build it for a diverse population. And I was really worried that as a career changer, without a computer science degree, it would be a real hindrance, and at times I'm worried that I haven't got that computer science background. But actually being a career changer is my superpower, because I've become a developer, but I have there's loads of skills that I've brought from my previous career. So although I've spent the last 3 years developing coding skills, I've brought along loads of skills that I didn't even realise I had. So communication, teamwork, understanding how business works, why we're being asked to build things the way we are, prioritisation, leadership, and I use all those things just as much as I do my coding skills, because a lot of building software isn't coding, it's talking to developers, talking to product owners. It's about working in a team, and doing code reviews. I mean, they're all kind of people skills. It's not just about coding. And I strongly believe that career changes are part of the diversity jigsaw, and we need to do more to open our doors to career changes. If you can encourage people to change career and welcome them into your organisations, not only will you get more women, you'll get more race diversity, and you'll definitely get more background and age diversity, and all those things are important in the jigsaw of diversity. And if you can get a career changer onto your team, they bring fresh, diverse thoughts, they bring experiences from other industries, and they're the most motivated people you can find. As a career changer, often we are learning to code on top of having a job and on top of having a family, so we're just super learners, and we are super organised and self-motivated, so they're the best kind of people you can possibly get in your team. We all need to do more to rebalance diversity in tech, and I believe that this is a really important part of it. Because not only can you change your team, you can also change people's lives, because I can't tell you how much happier I am now in the position I am than crying my eyes out over a job that I hated 3 years ago. And that's me. Thank you very much for listening.